Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, welcome to Bygone Battle Reviews, the randomly released show where I, Capsiris, Mr. Bandana Scarf Stick Figure himself, talk about death battle episodes that released before I started doing YouTube as an actual job/hobby. So, with Dracula being the most current killer in Dead by Daylight, I thought it would be fun, and somewhat topical, to look over one of my favorite Season 6 episodes ever. Ganondorf vs. Dracula. Man, this episode is really something special. And because of that, I've invited a very special guest to the show. Everyone, please give a very warm welcome to Nemesis! I would like to apologize to anyone who actually thought that the special guest I announced on Twitter would be Nemesis Bloodreich. As cool as that would be, I unfortunately do not have the connections nor the sway in the community to get Nemesis, let alone any other death battle content creator on this channel. I mean, I did appear in a Jonathan Frostethan video, which is something I will brag about till the end of time, but that's really about it. But hey, this $10 Nemesis Prime toy that I got at Target is basically Nemesis Bloodreich. I mean, he's named Nemesis, and he's got purple on him, and they kind of look the same. If you squint. So yeah, basically, they're basically the same person. Plus, he just looks so cute. Look at him. Look at him with his little axe hand. Oh, who's gonna commit several war crimes? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, you adorable little Geneva Convention violator. Anyway, moving past this joke that has gone on for way too long, Ganondorf vs. Dracula. Is it good? Let's find out. And by let's find out, I mean listen to me yap on about how goated this episode is, because let's face it, we all know this episode is good. And nowhere is that better shown than in the analysis. These analyses are funny, informative, funny, great at covering the characters' stories, funny, and did I mention that they're funny? Because they are very funny. I love both of these cutaway gags. Wiz and Boomstick laughing with each other is so wholesome. I love it when both the hosts interact in a friendly way. I loved it in Ben vs. Hal, and I love it here. And Wiz's little "I got out the next day" is delivered perfectly. I love how casual he is about it. But let's be real, Boomstick's 6-step guide joke to becoming a vampire, for goth kids only, is clearly the superior joke between the two. Not only is Boomstick pulling out the pointer and glasses just a gem every time it happens, but the fact that he included killing Luigi as a part of his plan is just infinitely funnier. But both of those pale in comparison to the Kirby joke. Not because it's funnier, I'm just biased. But now we move on to the fight. And okay, the start is pretty mediocre. I get what they're trying to do, incorporating the "but what is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets," to set up the payoff at the end, with Dracula calling Ganondorf a piece of gammon. Ganondorf. But here's the thing. They forgot the little in miserable little pile, so instead Dracula says, "But what is a man? A miserable pile of secrets." They couldn't even get the reference right. 0 out of 10. Worst episode ever made. In all seriousness, Ganondorf calling Dracula a vampire and then saying that no man can challenge his power is pretty dumb and makes no sense. All you had to do was nix the reference to Castlevania and it would have worked. It may not have been groundbreaking, but it would have been functional. Aside from the Vampire Man paradox, the starting animation is really stiff. Now, SFM is really frickin' finicky at points. I just watch Lazy Purple's video on how it feels to suffer in SFM and you'll see why. But it feels like the animators are trying to capture the feeling of an anime fight scene, but it just doesn't work. Stuff like Ganondorf punching Dracula and Dracula just floating there, and Dracula spitting up blood after Ganon slices him with a sword, doesn't look as cool as it would if it was 2D animated. It just looks janky. Speaking of janky, how is this possible? Last time I checked, Dracula keeps his head vulnerable in fights, not his entire body. The fact that Ganondorf's punch managed to impact Dracula's body when it should have realistically gone right through him is just baffling. Okay, no more complaints, let's get to the good stuff. My god, the expression work is just fantastic. Ganondorf's smug as hell look is captured perfectly in this episode. In fact, a lot of his expressions, whether he be mad or in pain, look great. But man, Dracula just steals the show with this episode. He rides the line between goofy as hell and I am so absolutely done with this so remarkably well. It's another Zatanna versus Booster Gold scenario where one character gets to show off a lot of flair and exaggerated gestures, while the other character treats this a lot more seriously. And you could say that is a detriment to the episode, but I will not. And the voice acting, oh my god, the voice acting. From both William T. Sopp and Stephen Kelly as Ganondorf and Dracula respectively, they're just so good and they match the characters' expressions perfectly. If I had to pick which performance I prefer, I'd probably go with Kelly's Dracula, as he's just got so much personality in his dialogue. But Ganondorf's voice is also kick-ass. It's really, it's one of those things where the voice sounds like it shouldn't work, kind of like what they did with Mario in Mario vs. Sonic 2018, but it actually does work very well. Yes, I like Mario's voice actor in Mario vs. Sonic 2018. Fucking fight me. I shouldn't swear, swearing's bad. Another thing I don't see complimented nearly enough is the lighting. Like, some of these shots look spectacular and downright haunting even. And it's mostly thanks to the lighting. It's so good. The audio is great too. The track titled The Dark Lords has a really nice gothic horror vibe to it. But unfortunately, I can't really comment on it too much as I haven't listened to it outside of the context of the episode. But in the context of the episode, it sounds really good. And the sound design, mwah! My god, the sound design is great. I love how big both monster forms feel, just from the sound alone. The actual animation is pretty great too. Outside of those few examples I gave at the start, the short scuffle with the Medusa heads is really great, leading to the spectacular shot of Dracula reaching for Ganondorf's neck. Dorf incorporating his smash moveset into the fight for this really cool combo, which I have tried many times to pull off and always failed at doing it because I suck. It's really cool. Dracula's body just floating there in the air and unnaturally twitching as the demon bat head pops out of the hole where his head used to be. That is so haunting. Dracula full-on chomping down on Ganondorf only to combo that with his Hellfire, which leads to Ganondorf turning into Ganon in one of the coolest transformation scenes in Death Battle, period. Maybe beaten out by Fierce Deity Link, but I don't know yet. I'd have to rewatch that episode. And Dracula trying to match Ganon's strength head-on, only to get yeeted away, is just really funny. It looks really cool. This animation is top-notch, man. Oh, and the freaking climax. I'm sorry if it comes off like I'm gushing a lot, because I am. I love this episode so much. After Dracula drops his holy nuke on Ganon, as well as an absolutely killer line, we see the aftermath of the explosion. Dracula then walks up to a weakened Ganondorf, picks him up, and delivers one of the coldest, most ruthless lines in the show's history. It has so much venom and spite in the delivery, and it is very nicely complemented by the death, where Ganondorf initially tries to fight back, but can't due to the Triforce of Power being completely demolished by Dracula's demonic Megiddo. Dracula then rips him in half and drinks the remaining blood from his bisected remain. Jesus, dude, calm down! Also, again, lighting. Very nice. I love it. The post analysis is also good, but the only thing I really like about it is the battery licking line. I have no idea why I like it so much, I just think it's funny. Also, I really like how Wiz explains their difference in power using objects that naturally occur to us in our everyday lives. It's a really good way to explain how vast a power gap is to a more casual audience. That is a very underrated aspect of this episode. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, this episode is great. Dare I say, phenomenal. A meaty episode deserving of a nice juicy score of a 9 out of 10. If the intro made a little more sense and if Dracula's powers were properly portrayed in said intro, then this would be an easy 10 out of 10. But as of right now, a 9 is a great score. Anyway, what did you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And if there are any episodes that you want to see me review in the future, comment them down below as well. And while you're at it, hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And ring the bell if you want to see any more of my videos. Follow me on my socials in the description. Really, this was a very short video, surprisingly. I was expecting it to be a little longer, but it like barely cracked over 10 minutes. So, with that in mind, I'll see you later, Cap Nation. Bye-bye!